Selom, thank you for coming on the first 100 podcast, episode one. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Will. This is honestly an honor to be the first one of many, many podcasts.
No, the honor is all mine. So the podcast here, we're going to focus on the first 100 customers of Mad Rabbit. So I'm super excited to jump in. But before we do, can we just kind of set the stage? And can you fill us in on where you were in life at the very beginning, right before Mad Rabbit, and like what career path you maybe were going to be going down?
Yeah, my, I guess this goes back to 2018, late 2018. I just wrapped up my junior year internship in college. So I was interning at Unilever, which is a CPG company. And first semester senior year started. This was back in like September, October. And Oliver hit me up after one of our business fraternity meetings and said, "Hey, are you ready to run it back?" Because the semester before junior year, we were drop shipping women's swimsuits, doing it over the summer, and then end up selling it for like a little bit of money, which was a lot for a college student over that summer. And then we were just tinkering around with things, and he was like, "All right, let's run it back." And then he came to me with the idea of tattoo aftercare, and then that's how this all launched.
It is crazy that you guys had like a mini run before kind of going at with Mad Rabbit too. What was what was it like to have that first kind of early one to set you guys up for this next venture? Did you feel like a little bit momentum with that or
The first one was great because we learned a lot about e-commerce, building a brand, building a business, setting up Instagram, making sure it looks good, marketing the customers through Facebook, through Google, through Snapchat, email marketing, SMS marketing, website building, things to optimize the website to increase conversion rate. So it was definitely the building blocks in that trial and error before we started Mad Rabbit, and we knew exactly what to do from the very start because we made mistakes in that first business. So we made sure those mistakes weren't repeated for this one.
what were those couple of mistakes? Do you remember?
Oh my. I would say a big one was email customer service, not responding to people in a timely manner. Because if you don't respond to people in a timely manner, at least negative reviews. Negative reviews do sink a business. Also not asking for reviews. That was also a mistake. Not having a pop up on your website to get customers' emails or phone numbers is another mistake because when people do come, even if they don't buy from you, you want their emails, you want their phone numbers. That way later on, you can hit them on a sale that's coming up, maybe Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or like a holiday sale, something like that.
Yeah, that's that there's so many learnings that I'm sure you've taken to this next stage to it. So, can you take us and you mentioned it a little bit, but can you take us to the very beginning when you and Oliver sat down and talked about Mad Rabbit and basically what the problem was around tech to care?
Yes. So Oliver came to me and he said, "Do you want to do tattoo Africa?" And I originally said no. And it took him about 2 weeks for him to convince me. But that 2 weeks that he was convincing me, I was doing my own research onto the space. And I saw that there were companies in the space, but they weren't really brands. People are loyal to brands, they're not loyal to companies. You don't see someone wearing a hat of their favorite like credit card company like Visa, MasterCard. They're wearing like Nike, Aloe, stuff like that. So we wanted to be a brand that people would be proud of repping, a brand that people would talk about and share a story, a brand that people would want to repost on social media to create a community. So I did that research and I saw that there was nothing there. There were a few companies, but there was a void. And these companies there were being run by people who weren't marketing savvy or tech savvy. They didn't know how to reach the younger demographic. So we had that skill. We were still in college. We were tapped into what's going on in social media, what the trends were. So after that, and him coming back to me, I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Let's run it. But this is how we're going to market it. This is how we're going to build the pages. And I was like, all you need to give me, just give me the brand name and I'll take it from there. And then that's how we launched.
That is crazy. So you kind of knew you had a game plan from the very beginning of how like the storytelling was going to go and how you were going to appeal to the your target customers.
Yeah. So Oliver, he always figures out the vision. And then when it comes to me, I do the execution. It's like I love to execute and then I trust his vision, his judgment on like where we should go and where we should take things.
Yeah. Yeah, I so on one of your we were a guest on the podcast, but you're talking about the gamification of basically like the very early days. Can you just talk through how that maybe helped in the early days?
Hmm. Yeah. The gamification of it was, I mean, I liked playing video games when I was younger. I still do sometimes. And I was treating every day in terms of traffic to the website or revenue or number of orders as a new high score. So it's like, okay, the next day or tomorrow we did better. So it's a new high score. So just keep beating it over and over and over again, reinvesting all the money you made into marketing so that way you could beat that previous day high score. So it was just seeking that next high of like, what can we do in terms of revenue or how many customers we can bring? And it made it exciting. I would go to class and I'd be bored in class. So I'd just distract myself by not listening to the professor and just work on this. Or like instead of going out at night doing this, or when my full-time job started after graduation, I would enjoy like I would go to work from 8 to 5, but then I would have more fun working on my rabbit from 5 to 10 or 11 to like I passed out. So like just treating like a video game was what made it exciting and also wanting me to just continue growing, growing, growing.
Yeah, and it's I mean, from the very beginning, like, did you get some early signs of traction, or was it pretty slow build, do you think?
The beginning was honestly the most fun part. I mean, we're 6 years deep now and it just gets more real and real every day. Like there's millions of customers, there's tens of employees, like there's a lot of things going on. But in the early days, it was advertising tactics to get people to click on a link to come to your website because I knew that once they visit the website, if they have tattoos, they would buy. So we were running things like buy one, get one free or free shipping or buy two, get one free. Anything that would get someone to click on that and visit the website is what we were running. And we got traction pretty immediately. And also back then, before like all of these iOS updates, it was very easy to pinpoint your exact customer and get them to purchase or come to the website and support the brand. Now it's more difficult. You can't put out bad content and expect people to come purchase from you. You have to make sure it's quality content. But then I feel like we're in a way kind of retreating back to the days of bad content because there's brands doing 6, 7 figures a month with just AI slop. So it feels like in a way we're regressing instead of progressing in terms of quality content.
Wow, yeah, it's, the tactical side of it is apparent from all of the conversations and interviews I've seen that that's just really where you thrive. And from early on, do you remember who your first customer was, or like when it happened, or do you remember that point in time when it happened?
Oh my God. I don't remember exactly who our first customer was, but I do remember that our first customers, what we did was when we ran ads before we had physical product because we wanted to make sure that there was going to be traction and people wanted it before we started skipping class to order product to cook in Oliver's apartment in his kitchen. So those first few customers that we had come in, we had to refund all of them. That's how we knew, okay, it's time to like actually let's start doing this.
Yeah.
So like the first 10 to 20 never got their mad rabbit. It was just to make sure that there was proof in the pudding that we could actually do this.
So then once you started getting the orders, was it kinda chaos in the beginning of, like, working in Oliver's apartment, making it, shipping it, and just nonstop, like, getting help as they were stacking up?
Yeah, no, it was chaos for sure. I was not going to class every Thursday because we would wake up, I would go over to his apartment and we had a white, honestly don't know how you'd call it, a pong table, just a big pong table in his apartment.
Yeah.
We ordered a crock pot, we ordered frankincense, lavender, cocoa butter, shea butter, beeswax, sweet almond oil, calendula oil. Those were the original 7 ingredients for our tattoo foam. And we have measuring cups, just measuring the ingredients out, putting in the crock pot, stirring it, and then slowly pouring it into each tin. And back then the tins were silver tins. And then his neighbors would also come over and help us. And I remember those initial first couple months, there was a postal office on campus. And whenever we have like a couple hundred orders, we'd ship them, send it to them. And they got to a point where they're like, this is too much work for us. Go down to Cincinnati and give them these packages. Like, we're not doing that. I'm sorry. Like, this is your job. But they were not happy with us because they were just like the amount of packages that they had to send out was just 10 times more than they were used to.
I mean, and you got just for the audience, Miami of Ohio, where we went to school, is like 45 minutes away from Cincinnati, right? So it's not like it's right down the street to be able to do the shipping. That is so that's gonna be super rewarding too, especially early on. So I guess one of the things that I've just always been so curious about is, can you remember the moment where you and Oliver thought, like, we're really starting to get to this is really starting to work?
I would say it was probably when we had to start looking for manufacturers because we were getting close to graduation and realized that we both are going to our full-time jobs. I was going to go do corporate finance for Textron in Wichita, Kansas, and he went to EY in New York to do M&A consulting. And we realized that like we can't be cooking this anymore together. Like we have full-time jobs. So we found our first manufacturer who we still use today, and he still does a lot for us. And he's out here in California. And that's when we knew that it's getting real because we're deciding to continue doing this even with our full-time jobs coming up. Um, so we completely offloaded to him, found a 3PL at the time in Idaho who it would be made in California, sent to Idaho, and then shipped out to our customers who ordered. And then we still had our full-time jobs. So this was all of 2019 was when I quit my full-time job. This was October 2020 because they had moved me to Dallas, Texas, and quit my full-time job. And then it was Mad Rabbit. And then he quit his full-time job, I think a couple months after me.
Wow. It's when did you move out to LA?
Oh, I'm not in LA full-time. I'm here partially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I still live full-time in Dallas,
Oh,
Texas.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, LA is where our headquarters is. It's where we have our creative team, where we have 15 tattoo artists. So there's at least 1 to 2 tattoos going on every single day. So that way we can like get content right when tattoos are being done. So it's just
Yeah.
like it's like evolved into like a media company because you just need so much content. People love consuming content. So you just have to continue feeding that beast.
Yeah. What do you miss about those very early days?
I mean, it was definitely really fun. Decisions didn't really have that many consequences back then because you're just exploring and seeing what would work, lots of trial and error. Now it's some lot more like high stakes. Like you have customers that you have to make happy, like millions of customers that you have to make happy, making sure you're putting good quality product out there. People are waiting for you to mess something up so they can come after you. There's investors that you have to please. And then now we also have like a second business within Mad Rabbit, which is the pro team or pro side, which is for tattoo artists, the wholesale customers. And then now we're supplying like tattoo parlors and tattoo shops and tattoo artists with products too. So like it's evolved from just regular customers, like if you have tattoos to just use on your skin, to now supplying shops that way they can use these during their tattoo sessions. So it's a
Right.
lot more responsibility now for sure.
Yeah, and the product line is grown too, and it's just is as you envisioned it from the very beginning. I mean, the one thing that's held true is like the brand image and the storyline,
Mhm.
uh, and I think that that's really cool to be from the beginning that it's been the same authenticity. How do you envision the brand kind of over the next 5 to 10 years?
I would say the core brand story is definitely gonna stay the same. We're gonna stay true to ourselves for sure. There is still a lot of work to do in this space. Reaching the amount of customers we've reached is definitely an accomplishment. The next goal is to reach as many tattoo parlors as we can in the US. There's about 30,000, and we want to just continue growing that part. So almost every shop in the US carries Mad Rabbit or recommends Mad Rabbit because currently shops and artists recommend Aqua for Lubriderm. It's not like going to a hair salon where they are always telling you something in the chair. The tattoo artist space is kind of behind in terms of selling in the chair. So we're doing our best to train them that, hey, you can make a few extra bucks every single month by pushing products. Because if you're spending thousands on a tattoo, $20 to $40 on an item to make sure it lasts forever should be
Mhm.
an easy investment. So that's the next biggest challenge is growing that segment. And then hopefully after that is expanding internationally.
I mean, to go from the concept to the first customer, the first 100 to where you are now in the pathway, it's just super exciting to be able to follow all along. So I greatly appreciate you coming on. Are you okay if we do a couple rapid fire, just quick answers, kind of first thing that comes to your mind?
Of course, yeah, it's completely fine.
Right. So are you a morning bird or night owl?
Oh wow. I would say more of a night owl for sure. It's just something about it being dark and the only light is just your screens and you're just super focused. I'm someone, it's funny, I only like natural light. So like if I'm in my apartment and it gets dark, it's dark. I'm not putting the lights on unless if I'm like using the bathroom or something. And then once it's just me and my screen, then I'm just locked in. So I would say I'm a night person for sure.
Okay, so your co-founder's Oliver. Is he a night owl too, or is he a morning person?
Oliver is definitely a morning person. Like I purposely make sure a lot of my meetings don't start till 11 in the morning, but he's fine with like meetings at like 6, 7 a.m. because I know I'm going to stay up late and he's going to wake up early. Like I'll call him at 9 p.m. He's already in bed.
So the partnership works really well. Okay, so your favorite book that's helped you as a founder.
Oh, wow. I only picked back up reading a lot recently, but the main book that I have been reading recently and reading over and over has been 48 Laws of Power.
That's
Yeah, I would say that one.
one marketing experiment that failed but taught you something.
Wow. Marketing experiment that failed that taught you something. I would say in terms of failures, it would be partnerships with big influencers, big celebrities, big creators. And what I learned was that just because someone has millions of followers and insane engagement doesn't mean if they post for you, it's going to perform very well. You have to make sure they're very aligned with your audience. You have to make sure that their followers aren't bought. You have to make sure that the comments are also legitimate, likes are legitimate, stuff like that. And even if they're all legitimate, you still have to make sure like this makes sense for the brand because there have been people that we've paid with big followings. And I think a lot of founders see that early on. It's like, oh, it's a couple million. I can pay a couple grand. That seems extremely fair. Most of the time, you will not see any benefit out of it at all.
That's so good to know. Who is the most unexpected person that helped Mad Rabbit?
Unexpected person. I mean, I would give a lot of credit to Oliver's mom for sure because she's the one who helped us pick the first 7 ingredients. And it was her idea, which went to Oliver, which came to me, and then we created this together. So I would say she's like the catalyst between all of or behind all.
Shout out Oliver's mom. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the most underrated aspect? Two-parter. The most underrated aspect of living in LA and Dallas.
I honestly like going back to Dallas feels like I'm going back to touch grass, like back into reality. LA, I would say I am definitely way more busy here because I'm in the office every single day. If I'm gonna go for meetings or see friends, I'm driving like 40 minutes to an hour because of the
Mm,
traffic. So the traffic in LA sucks, but it's also way more beautiful in terms of weather. Dallas, I would say it's more relaxing in terms of environmental work, and I would say it's also more peaceful. The only downside is just it gets too hot.
yeah, right, right. Okay, so this is the last question. This is my favorite one. So you may not know this, but you and I share a passion for Legos. What is the most favorite thing that you built? Do you have one?
My favorite one is the Mercedes F1.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my one for sure. And then my first one ever was the Porsche. That was my
That
first one ever.
the big one, right? Like the big Porsche?
No, they're all the big ones. This built recently. This was last week, 2 weeks ago. I built the Suki's. I was in from Fast and Furious, so that was a little one. And then that was here in LA. In Dallas, I'm working on the Ford GT, that blue Ford GT, the bigger one.
Do you crank through it all at one time, or do you have to space it out?
I like once I start something, I can't stop. So my favorite thing to do is like my ideal Saturday and Sunday mornings is I'll wake up. There's a soccer game going on, so I will put the soccer on and just start cranking out the Lego sets. What about you? What is your favorite?
I did the Mercedes F1 was like the first one, and I'm the same way. I was like looking forward to it like for the whole weekend. And when Sunday morning came, I needed, no one could, you cannot interrupt me. I'm like working on it, you know? It's like I got it right here on my desk. So that's probably my favorite one so far. I want to get one of the big ones. But I think it might be a little big for my wife. So it's like if I build it, where am I gonna put it?
I got wait, so you built the small Mercedes one or the big one?
Yeah, the small one.
Oh, I have the big one. That thing is
Yeah.
it's over a foot long. The one another one, the biggest one I built was the McLaren. Uh,
Okay.
the I think it's the P1. That thing took me 23 hours to build.
And you did all of it all at once?
I did it over one weekend. I
Wow.
just locked in because I also like I'm not someone who likes to go out and like drink and party. So like my ideal state is like either I'm going over to a friend's, have friends coming over. I'm just in my apartment, just building. Yeah, it's
Well, you may get sent some Legos after this episode goes live. Selem, I appreciate you again for coming on, being the first guest for the first episode here. Greatly appreciate you taking the time and wishing you all the best.
thank you. This was really fun. I appreciate it.